Greetings everyone and welcome to my 86th TTM video, where TTM stands for Through the Mail, and we send out autograph requests to athletes, famous people, whomever, and we hope that they send the stuff we sent out back, preferably signed. I hope everybody's been doing well and staying safe. It's been about a month since my last video. Spent some time in the old hospital, had a near-death experience there from something so very silly. But I do want to thank everyone for the great videos they put out. It really helped me when I was in the hospital and recovering, and I wanted my hand to heal up before I did another video because it was pretty ugly. I broke up a fight between two of my dogs, and one of them decided to chew up two of my hands. He was so upset, and I thought nothing of it. Cleaned it up, it was bleeding and all that. It was swollen, but thought nothing of it, and 2 days later, all of a sudden, I felt like I was dying, and I came pretty close, the doctor said, if I didn't go into the hospital, so luckily, worked out well, But I enjoyed watching everybody's videos. I tried to comment as best I could, and I'm glad to be back, so hopefully somebody will watch this. It might be a long one. I got 6 TTMs to show everybody. I got a fan pack, and I also got a win from a contest a while ago that I want to show as well, and I got some shout-outs as well for some channels that are really good. I'll start out with the shout-outs for everybody. The first shout-out will go to a new channel I just started, Mike's Mr. October and More. He's got quite the collection of baseball cards. Give him a look-see. He's got less than 30 subs, but he's got a really good channel. And we got a veteran here, Alan Twitchell. AFL guy, loves his AFL, got a great collection of cards, autographs. Check out Mr. Twitchell there. And another new channel I've been subscribed to recently, Rocket Rick J18 Sports Cards. This is another new one. And guy I've been subscribed to for a while, I'll give a shout out here, Signs of the Pastime. Another fantastic channel as well. So check out all 4 of those. And the first is a contest win I got a while back. So it wasn't like I was trying to be rude or anything. Just didn't have a video. This is from the Card Wolf, CW, thanking me for participating in his contest. He always has great giveaways. He's a great guy. CW is, I call him the Bob Ross of YouTube. He's got, just a soothing, calm voice. And he had a binder, and you pick cards out. And I said, I'll just take any Yankees, Mets, whoever. I don't care. I'm open to anything. And he sent me great cards. He sent me this one, Mattingly and Strawberry there. Got a great 76 Joe Torre. It's his last playing card before he became player manager. And I got this nice Dwight Gooden card there. A sweet-looking card. And then I got this nice Don Mattingly, this Fleer one. Only didn't have those injuries. He'd have been a sure bet Hall of Famer. This great Ralph Terry card. Former Yankee putting on the pinstripes there. He gave up the Billy Mazarowski home run. Keep that in mind, because that'll be coming up later. And this great Diamond Kings card of Dwight Gooden. One of about a jillion guys I collect. I collect a lot of people. So thank you, CW. That was really generous of you, and I appreciate those wonderful cards. I did have a couple of pickups that I'll show, but first, kind of a fan pack for the autograph collection, and this came from Minnesota, and it's an autograph of Nordy, the wild mascot. He's wild. So, go wild, Nordy. That's nice. I appreciate that, of them sending me that. And there are a couple of facts on the back there if you want to look at that. And the Wild also sent, it was real nice, a team calendar. I didn't ask for it, but they sent it. So it's got quite the pictures in there, There's June, this current month, John Merrill. So real nice gift from them. It lists on there as well their schedule when they played. And that was pretty good. And now the pickups. I picked up 2 things. First one is an autograph of a great player. I hope he gets into the Hall of Fame one day. And that's Dave Parker. And I picked this one up simply because He's wearing a Toronto Blue Jays uniform, and you don't really see him in too many Blue Jays unis. Mostly associated with the Pirates. You know, he's got some Reds, A's in there, but so I like that. I collect Dave Parker. He's another guy I collect. Another guy I collect is Mr. Denny McLean. I wrote him a couple years back and got a nice photo. But this one I picked up because he's wearing an Oakland A's uniform. I think he spent about a minute, it seems, with the A's. The proverbial cup of coffee with them, or whatever you want to say, a shot of Jack Daniels. But rarely see him in those uniforms. That uniform, I should say. Mostly with the Tigers. That's why I got those two. And also added on to my 10 worst number one draft picks in NHL history, and I picked up, a high draft pick. He was number one. And his name is Brian Lawton. Right here. Get a little closer to see Mr. Lawton. Wearing the old Sharks uni there. He was the number one pick in 1983 by the Minnesota North Stars. And who was picked right after him at number 2? Sylvain Turgeon. Number 3, a guy by the name of Pat LaFontaine. Number 4 was a guy by the name of Steve Yzerman. And number 5 was a guy by the name of Tom Barrasso. So the guys picked after him did pretty well. Cam Neely was picked 9th overall in the first round. In the second round, Claude Lemieux was picked. So, yeah, he didn't pan out very well. But got him on the card, and he's now part of the list. Check off number 5. So I got 4 down. I wrote Mr. Greg Jolly, number 10. He should be getting back soon, hopefully. He takes a while. The toughest one is going to be Doug Wickenheiser, and that's because he passed away back in, I think, 99. So that's going to be tough to even get one on like eBay, but I'll do the best I can with it. So, Brian Lawton. And now for the TTMs. Let's get through the mail. The first one came back unsigned. This was a gamble. You know, you send a current player, and that is Mr. Charlie Blackmon. Sent the card back in the envelope, but if you want a Charlie Blackmon autograph, what you got to do is send to the Colorado Rockies Foundation. If you want Chris Bryant, Charlie Blackmon, Ryan McMahon, or Randall Grichuk, you got to send to this. $25. And there's a little info. So, I don't know. I might. For a tax write-off, I'll do it definitely. I did that with the Detroit Tigers. I'm waiting on a card from them. I don't think anybody signs for Detroit anymore, which is kind of sad that teams have to charge for autographs now. All right, this first one came through the mail. Took 15 days. There was no fee. Came from the Worcester, Massachusetts, I should say. I get it out there. And he was recently released by the Worcester Red Sox. I picked up these cards in those boxes you get at Walgreens. And I figured, well, I'll send them out. Why not? I get them. And it was 2-2. He signed them. And luckily I got him before he got released last week. That is Mr. Jorge Alfaro, sporting a Pirates uni. And they're in the Phillies uni. Shout out to Mike. The hot corner there. He's a big Phillies fan. But yeah, I figured I'd take a shot. And he signed them both. Mr. Jorge Mario Alfaro was born June 11th, 1993. He's currently 30 years old. Born down in Colombia. While in Colombia, he played baseball and soccer. But in June 2010, he was 16 years old, and he signed with the Texas Rangers for a $1.3 million signing bonus, which was a record at the time for any Colombian prospect. On July 31st, 2015, the Rangers wound up trading him to the Philadelphia Phillies in a deal that sent to the Rangers a guy by the name of Cole Hamels, a pitcher. Sent him to the team. That was a big trade. Mr. Alfaro spent time in Philadelphia, Miami, and San Diego. It was 2022 last year, was his last time in the majors. On September 12th, 2016, he made his major league debut with the Phillies. He had 16 total at-bats in 2016. And he also, during his time with the Phillies, was the second fastest base running sprint speed of any catcher in baseball. So he's pretty quick. But his time in Philly didn't last long. He was traded in 2019 on February 7th to the Miami Marlins along with Sixto Sanchez for a guy by the name of JT Realmuto. So he got him 2 big trades. On January 26, 2023, he signed a minor league deal with the Boston Red Sox and was a non-roster invitee to their spring training. He played 43 games for the AAA Worcester Red Sox, where he hit .320, had 6 homers and 30 RBIs and 4 stolen bases. But on June 1st, he exercised his opt-out clause, giving the Red Sox 48 hours to either add him to their roster or release him. And the Sox decided to release him, which they did on June 3rd. His major league career, he has hit .256, had 47 homers and 194 runs batted in. So I don't know where he's going to land, but keep an eye out. I had to look up. When I saw the cards, I'm like, why don't I send to this guy? And I found out he was up there in Worcester. So I sent them, and luckily I got them back. And the same thing for this next card that I got. I just sent one. It was 16 days, no fee, from the Circle City of Indianapolis. Indiana came back, where he plays with the AAA Indianapolis Indians, and that is Mr. Ryan Filadi. We're sporting the Rockies uni there on his rookie card. Oops. Little heritage action there. Ryan James Filadi was born February 18th, 1999 in Grapevine, Texas. He's an outfielder. He's 24 years of age. In July, I should say, of 2016, he played high school baseball in the Under Armour All-American baseball game at Wrigley Field. He was a junior in high school, and he wound up winning the home run derby there with 18. He committed to play baseball at Oklahoma State University, where his dad was an assistant baseball coach. In the 2017 MLB draft, he was picked in the second round with the 48th pick by the Colorado Rockies. And he played with Colorado 2 years ago in 2021. He made his debut on September 18th, 2021 against the Washington Nationals. And he wound up playing left field. He went 0 for 4, and that was pretty much his major league career. He was released by the Rockies, and on November 9th, 2022, the Pirates claimed him off waivers, and they sent him down to AAA Indianapolis, where he currently plays. His major league batting average is 0, no homers, no RBIs. But hey, I got this in that box. I figured send it to him once I found out where he was, and he was nice enough to send it back. So, you got any of his cards? Send them out. I'm sure he'll be happy to, send them to you. Now I got 3 8x10 returns to show you. This first one came from Washington, D.C., and it's an opening game pitch, I should say, and that is Dr. Anthony Fauci. Whatever you think of him, he signed the photo I sent to him. He said, "To Ed, the perfect pitch, Tony Fauci," because there's the ball right up there. Do it not to the catcher, but away. So Dr. Fauci was nice enough to send it to me. I sent him a letter. I used to live down in Washington. Talked about that, and so thank you, Dr. Fauci. Figured I'd send it to him. He was nice enough to send it back. Kept politics out of it. Very happy to do that. This next one comes from Utah. Took 13 days. I did send $10 with it. And it's an 8x10, and that is Sports Illustrated signed by Mr. Vernon Law. I asked him to sign World Series champs 1960, which he did. He also added Cy Young on the photo as well. And this was from October 10th, 1960, Sports Illustrated. It's just a cover. It's not a picture. It's not the original. But a little bit about him, Mr. Vernon Sanders Law. So if you ever get his letters back, it's with his mailing address. There's an S in there. He was born March 12th, 1930 in Meridian, Idaho. 93 years of age. Still going strong. God bless him. The Pittsburgh Pirates signed Vern before the 1948 season, and he spent 1948 and 49 in the minor leagues. Made his major league debut on June 11th, 1950. So yesterday was his 73rd anniversary of his making his major league debut. But from 1951 to 54, he wound up serving the armed forces of the United States, so he lost quite a bit of time. He played with the Pirates from 1950 to 51, and then after his release from the service, 54 to 67. In August 1959, he shared NL Player of the Month with a guy by the name of Willie McCovey, who I believe is in the Hall of Fame, right? Yes, of course. That month, he went 4-0, had a 1.94 ERA with 25 Ks, so it was a really good month. 1960 was the big year for Mr. Law. He was 20-9 with a 3.08 ERA, and he led the National League in complete games. He had 18. And today's pitchers, they wouldn't have 18 in their whole careers. He wound up winning the Cy Young Award that year. And in the 1960 World Series, his Pirates played against my Yankees, where I always tell everybody the Yankees won that World Series 3-4. But he had a good World Series. But he did suffer an injury after the Pirates had clinched the National League pennant. He hurt his ankle on a bus trip when the team was celebrating. So he was forced to change his pitching style, and because of that, his weak ankle, he had tore muscles in his back of his shoulder as a result of changing his pitching style during the World Series. But he still had a pretty good World Series. He went 2-0. Won games 1 and 4. Those were his two victories, a 6-4 and a 3-2 victory. And he went 2 for 6 at the plate, hitting .337 with a run batted in. So he did pretty well in that World Series. He thought the injury would heal over the winter, but it didn't, and he was not the same for a few years. It wasn't until 1965 when he won NL Comeback Player of the Year award. He pitched in 29 games, went 17-9 with a 2.15 ERA. After he retired from the Pirates, he was a coach for 2 seasons and then wound up being an assistant baseball coach at Brigham Young University for 9 years. And in 1978, he wound up becoming pitching coach of the Seibu Lions of the Japanese League. In his younger years, though, at age 12, he was made a deacon in the Mormon Church. He became a teacher 2 years later and was ordained a priest at age 17. For his career, he was 162 and 147. So those years in the military probably could have cost him a shot at the Hall of Fame because he could have had more wins, definitely. With a 3.77 ERA, and he struck out 1,092 batters. But he was a pretty good hitter. He had .216 in his career, 96 runs scored, 35 doubles, 7 triples, 11 homers, 90 RBIs, and he had 41 walks. And he was a great fielder. He had a .972 fielding percentage. Twice he was an All-Star. In 1960, both that year, they had 2 All-Star games. He was a World Series champ and Cy Young winner, as I said, Comeback Player of the Year, and in 1965 won the Lou Gehrig Award. So thank you, Mr. Vernon Law. Looks good on the old Sports Illustrated photo there. Appreciate that. And of course, his son Vance Law played Major League Baseball as well. This next one came from Florida. Took 11 days, and I did contribute $5. This guy's a Hall of Famer, and this is Mr. Joe Schmidt. Signed this photo I had printed out of an old Detroit Lions logo. 2 lions, and then there's the lion on the prowl. He signed to Ed. Joe Schmidt. He also thanked me on the letter for the donation, which goes to his church. Excuse me. Let's see how many Detroit Lions I can get on there. Mr. Joseph Paul Schmidt, born January 19th, 1932, in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 91 years of age, he grew up in the borough of Brentwood. He was the youngest of 4 children. 2 of his brothers, his older brothers, died when he was very young. One died after falling out of a tree, and the other while serving in the United States Armed Forces in June 1944. His father would die in February of 1945, so quite the childhood there, a lot of trauma. A brother of his that survived wound up playing football at Carnegie Tech and recruited Joe, his brother, to play semi-pro football at the age of 14. Joe Schmidt went to the University of Pittsburgh, He was captain of the 1952 team that went 6-3, which included victories over The Ohio State University, Army, and Notre Dame. Prior to the Notre Dame game, he gave a speech that was credited with motivating his team to defeat the heavily favored Irish. In the Notre Dame game, Joe sustained a concussion and a hemorrhage and had to be hospitalized for 10 days. In the 1953 NFL Draft, where did he go? 7th round. It was the 85th pick of the Detroit Lions. Lions had just won the 1952 NFL Championship, played his whole career with the Lions from 53 to 65, wound up winning the 1953 NFL Championship and a 17-16 victory over the Browns. And after the 1957 season, he wound up serving 6 months in the United States Army. He helped lead the Lions to the 1957 NFL Championship with a 59-14 victory over the Browns. In 1963, Joe Schmidt and 5 other Lions were implicated in a gambling investigation scandal. Joe Schmidt admitted to placing a $50 bet on the Green Bay Packers to defeat the New York Giants in the NFL Championship. He and 4 other teammates were suspended, actually for just a couple games, I think, but they were fined $2,000 each. Alex Karras was the one future Hall of Famer who took a heavy hit because he'd bet on a lot of games, and he was suspended with Paul Hornung for a whole season. In 1966, Joe Schmidt was hired as an assistant coach for the Lions, and on January 6, 1967, the Lions fired head coach Harry Gilmore, and at age 35, signed Joe Schmidt to be their head coach for a 5-year, $40,000 contract. In his first year, the team went 5-7-2. He'd be the head coach until 1972. Mr. Schmidt took his team to the playoffs. They lost a tough one, I'll tell you about, but on November 8th, 1970, they lost a tough one in a historic game. The Lions lost to the Saints 19-17 when Tom Dempsey hit his 63-yard field goal. And it was in December of that year, December 26th, day after Christmas, that the Lions lost to the Cowboys in a playoff game 5-0. On January 12, 1973, he resigned as head coach of the Lions, saying he didn't enjoy coaching anymore and never was a head coach again. In his career, he played 155 games, 24 picks, 294 interception yards, 17 fumble recoveries, and 3 touchdowns. As a head coach, he went 43, 34, and 7. He was elected to the Football Hall of Fame in 1973. And then in the College Football Hall of Fame in 2000. Twice he was on an NFL championship team. The last time the Lions, I think, won it too, right? 8 times he was a first-team All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler. He made the NFL All-Decade 1950s team, the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time team. His 56 was retired by the Detroit Lions, and his 65 was retired by the University of Pittsburgh. He's credited basically with revolutionizing the linebacker position with his speed. Some have credited him with virtually inventing the middle linebacker position. Norm Van Brocklin said if he had to start a team from scratch and pick just one player, he'd have picked Joe Schmidt. Paul Hornung said that Schmidt was the best linebacker in the league, and that's at a time when Ray Nitschke and Sam Huff, guys like that, played. Vince Lombardi said simply, he's a cat. A high praise. So thank you, Mr. Schmidt. I'd sent him years ago as well. He'd signed a photo. I gave money at that time as well. This last one is a good one. It was originally signed by Johnny Blanchard. I sent it out to Pennsylvania. It took 11 days. I contributed $15, and that is Mr. Bill Mazarowski. I saw Matt Bowler had this one a couple videos back, but he signed right there. I asked him to include October 13th, 1960, which he gladly did. Johnny Blanchard is there on the bottom, the catcher. And there's Mr. Mazarowski. I don't think anybody else's. Yogi Berra out there is not alive anymore. But I was glad I forgot I had that photo, and I was glad to get it signed. Mr. William Stanley Mazarowski, born September 5th, 1936, as Michael Myers would say, in Wheeling, West Virginia. He's currently 86 years of age. His dad, Louis, was a highly regarded baseball prospect and once had a tryout with the Cleveland Indians, but he had severed his foot in a coal mining accident It ruined his dream. Bill wound up growing in a one-room house with no electricity and no indoor plumbing. He would go by the name of Catfish, not because he enjoyed fishing, but because he had great skills at catching fish for his family to eat. He grew up being a fan of the Cleveland Indians with Lou Boudreau and Bob Feller amongst his heroes. Bill Mazarowski turned down college scholarships from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Ohio State, and West Virginia to become a pro baseball player. The pro teams that wanted him were the Boston Red Sox, the Chicago White Sox, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Pirates. So at age 17, he wound up choosing the Pirates. He was originally a shortstop, but after one season in the minors was moved to second base. He played in Pittsburgh from 1956 to 72. On July 7th, 1956, against the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds, he got his first hit, and that was off pitcher Johnny Antonelli in his first Major League at-bat. Bob Prince, legendary Pirate broadcaster, called him the Glove. Future Hall of Famer, second baseman Joe Morgan called him the gold standard for infield defense. He still holds the record for most double plays in a season with 161, and the most double plays in a career, 1,706. But the moment that made him famous was October 13th, 1960, as he put on the photo for me. At 3:36 p.m. on a 1-0 count, he hit Ralph Terry's high fastball to the left of the 406-foot marker in distant left center field to win the 1960 World Series for the Pirates. It was their first World Series in 35 years. For his career, he hit 260, had 2,016 hits, 138 homers, and 853 RBIs. He was a 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ. He was on the 71 team that won it, defeating Baltimore, and an 8-time Gold Glover. Just in comparison, a lot of people complained, I remember, back when he was elected by the Veterans Committee. Oh, he didn't have the credentials. Like, he did. Willie Stargell summed it up best. He saved more runs than he drove in. He wasn't as fancy as Ozzie Smith, diving and making those great plays, but in comparison, Ozzie hit 262, so a 2-point difference. He had a few more hits. Ozzie had 2,460 hits, but he also played a couple more seasons. Bill Mazarowski hit over 100 more home runs than Ozzie did and drove in close to 300 more runs. And Ozzie had 5 more All-Star appearances and 5 more Gold Gloves. So, he's comparable. I think he deserved it, sure. His number 9 was retired by the Pirates. He's in the Pirates Hall of Fame, and in 2001 was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's also a member of the Polish American Sports Hall of Fame. On induction day, he thanked the Veterans Committee for choosing him, a player largely on his defensive skills. Before being overcome with emotion, he had to stop and apologize for all those who had come all the way up here to hear this crap. So thank you, Mr. Mazarowski. Really liked the photo. I'm glad he added to it. Of course, Mr. Blanchard had passed away a while ago, but I'm glad to add to him. So that's it. I know it's a long one, almost 30 minutes of your life. For those that managed to stay, I thank you. For those that managed to screech right through, hey, I thank you as well for showing up. Why not? I appreciate it. If you like the video, hit the like button. Leave a comment. I'll try to get back to you. My hands are feeling much better. If you're new, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Don't cost nothing. Just add you to. Hit the bell. You'll get notifications of when I come out with videos. Hopefully more frequent. Mail at least is coming in a little better. And if you didn't like it, subscribe anyway. You might have something you like down the line. Check out those channels that I mentioned because they're great channels. Give them a look-see. I thank everyone. Stay safe. Let's be kind to one another, one at a time. I want to say good night to everybody in America. Hope you're all doing well. Love you all.